In Windsor's Little Italy, folks on the edges of their seats in the Euro Cup semifinals. Rivals Spain and Italy, they went head to head, and that game just wrapped, so we'll take you live to Erie Street in just a little bit with the latest. High waters and heavy winds have already taken a toll on our shoreline. A national climate change report looks at how climate change will continue to affect the lakes and our region as a whole. A local expert explains our need to respond. A live look at our city there. Heat wave still in effect. We also have a weather statement indicating an isolated, intense thunderstorm near Essex. That's moving southeast. Colette Kennedy will give us the full weather rundown later in the program. Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. Chris is away. European soccer fans filled the sidewalks in Windsor today as Italy faced Spain in the UEFA European Football Championship. Most of the shirts on Erie Street in the city's Little Italy district, they were of course blue for Italy, and that is where our Jacob Barker is right now. Jacob, the game just finished. It ended in a shootout and a big victory for Italy. I can hear the noise there. Lots of excitement where you're at. What is the scene like?
Well, you can see behind me, Kat, it's, it's pandemonium here. Like the minute that goal was scored, everybody was shouting, and you can see the street has been plugged up with cars and horns ever since. When I first arrived, you could cut the tension with a knife because Spain had tied everything up in the second half, but Italy came through with that penalty shot, scoring the winning goal. We stopped by during the game earlier today when the tension was still going on. Here's a look at that.
Italy's gonna win today. We aren't taking any L's. Viva Azzurri, 3-1. Right now we're calling it 3-1. 3-1, let's get it, baby!
Electric right now, honestly. You know, being in this environment is great.
In fact, a really exciting game. I think it's going to be really close.
2-0
yeah.
Italy.
Expecting the best. We got good vibes. We're nervous still, but we're in good hopes.
The minute we woke up today, the excitement is running through our veins, and we're just hoping to have a good time with all this pandemic and stuff. We're just looking for a good time and an Italy win.
We want to get even. We got beat 4-0 a few years back. We want to get even.
We love soccer, you know. We were born, you know, with the soccer things, you know, but very, very nice. Yeah, hopefully, you know, we're going to win today.
No, it's going to get rowdy. It's going to get rowdy here. Don't worry. If you hear cheering, it'll be from this guy. And that'll be the only place.
I don't know exactly what's going on. Spain is strong too, very strong. But we have a chance, Italy, be better.
It's kind of a little mixture of both, you know? Like when you see a team, that's your nationality, you're rooting for them. And they're in something as big as the Euro semifinals. You're kind of nervous, but you're excited at the same time because the scenes down here, they start scoring, they win the game. The scenes, the partying. We're gonna be out here all day. We're gonna be having a good time, getting to know other people. It's about to get busier, and I'm just so pumped.
So the celebration is continuing here on Erie Street, and you can see a lot of excitement going on here. And what we're going to see is hopefully on Sunday we're going to see this scene repeat itself.
Okay, I think... Holy smokes, look at that. You know, nothing like live television, folks. See that enthusiasm? Jacob just lost in the crowd there. My goodness, that was the CBC's Jacob Barker live on Erie Street. Nothing like a game to bring people together. That was the CBC's Jacob Barker live on Erie Street. Just, wild enthusiasm, nothing like a game. A former Windsor Spitfires video coach has died. Sean DeMonk died fighting a fire in Pennsylvania. He'd been working in the state as a volunteer firefighter. DeMonk had previously been with the Spits from 2013 to 2017, winning a Memorial Cup during his time. The team's head coach says he was a great person to be around.
Sometimes you get caught up even in junior hockey with wins and losses, and sometimes, we're in the grind as coaches full time, and Munker was always kind of a breath of fresh air. Like he would come in, he always in a good mood, and just a smart guy too. Like he knew how to pick his spots, and he could tell a funny story if he had to, but he also could stay in the background if he had to, and if he knew it wasn't the time, But I just remember a lot, like on the road, we go for a couple beers after the games and just tell stories about just all kinds of different things. And he was just a big part of our group.
Letowski says he had a lengthy text conversation with DeMonk just a few weeks ago, asking him to be a reference for a job with another fire department. He had been planning to return home to Canada with his wife to be closer to family. The Ontario government is investing in educational programs to help address anti-Semitism in schools.
We've seen over several years Jewish students witnessing rising levels of hate, whether it's virtual, especially with the pandemic, or in person, whether it's bullying or vandalism or hateful discourse. And it really extends beyond schools, but I think one of the best ways to start addressing that kind of anti-Semitism is in our education system.
The province is committing $327,000 toward two programs. One will provide professional development sessions for educators aimed at dismantling anti-Semitism. Another will help students learn about human rights and how to deal with injustice. In recent months, a researcher at the University of Windsor has been focusing his work on anti-Semitism.
My research was on anti-Semitism in Windsor, Essex, and the community were asked, what are your concerns? Are you concerned with anti-Semitism? And the majority of participants believe that they have a moderate concern with the level of anti-Semitism in Windsor. So it's not a minimal concern, it's not a major concern, but a moderate concern, which leads me to the conclusion that there is still work to be done, and education is the key.
The province says it wants to ensure Jewish students feel safe and supported in school through this funding. According to Statistics Canada, there were 296 police-reported incidents targeting Jewish people in 2019. A new national report looks at the greatest challenges the country is facing under the threat of climate change. The report, spearheaded by Natural Resources Canada, looks at the impact on our ecosystems and our Great Lakes. And many of the issues cited are what we're seeing right here in our region. According to a specialist with the Essex Region Conservation Authority, we all have a shared responsibility to respond.
We're seeing these variable lake levels that will continue into the future. We're seeing higher highs and lower lows, and that will continue to impact our shorelines. We're surrounded on water by three sides here in Essex region, and we've been under flood watches and warnings for hundreds of days over the last few years. And those are expected to continue throughout the century. An added impact to that is we're seeing these extreme rainfall events as well, which are also leading to increased flooding within our watersheds and erosion problems.
The report also talks about how climate change is going to be impacting hunters, foresters, farmers, and fishermen. So farmers and fishermen, specifically in our region, will be impacted. I'm wondering if we're already seeing impacts and if you could identify certain examples.
Farmers are some of the most adaptable, probably workers on the planet. They watch weather patterns constantly, but certainly, I think that we're seeing these more intense rainfalls in the spring, and we'll see increasing days of drought in the summer, which are certain to impact our local crop production. Sometimes it could benefit in a good way, longer growing seasons. But those threats of extreme weather are really, sort of the most concerning for our farmers in the region, I would suggest. And, you know, our lakes are warming as well. And so we also have, you know, threats to water quality from these rising temperatures and these changing precipitation patterns as well. We have a responsibility, I think, to stop things from getting worse, but we also have a responsibility immediately to adapt to the changes that we're seeing. And certainly we're seeing that at all levels of government, you know, pressures on budgets, you know, and especially in the wake of the COVID crisis, you know, but it's also an opportunity to sort of rethink the way we do things a little bit. And that's the idea of, you know, a green recovery.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has named Mary Simon as the next Governor General of Canada, an historic appointment of the first Indigenous person to the role. It comes after a major fallout over the last Governor General, which led to the resignation of Julie Payette. Ashley Burke broke the story about Payette's troubled tenure. Now she has more on what's ahead for the next occupant at Rideau Hall.
A historic appointment in the wake of a historic resignation.
I cannot think of a better person to meet the moment.
I can confidently say that my appointment is a historic and inspirational moment for Canada.
Mary Simon, an Inuk leader and former Canadian diplomat, selected as the first Indigenous Queen's representative to Canada during a critical time.
Governor General of Canada.
Taking office with a different kind of bilingualism, Inuktitut and English.
I was denied the chance to learn French during my time in the federal government day schools.
She has a unique ability to talk about a lived experience, to talk about the issues that she has worked on in her career.
That selection a step forward, only happening because of the Prime Minister's past failure. To vet the previous Governor General, Julie Payette, who resigned in disgrace over reports of harassment, leaving behind a shattered workplace culture that Simon will need to restore at Rideau Hall.
As Governor General, I am fully committed to setting and maintaining the highest possible standard of work and ethic in all aspects of my duties.
She's stepping into, a situation that very much parallels the Crown-Indigenous relationship in Canada in general, a relationship that has been abusive and has been neglected and toxic.
As Canada walks the path of reconciliation, having an Indigenous leader in the highest constitutional office in the country is a big step forward on that path. The government hopes to have an installation ceremony for Simon within the next 6 weeks. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Some descendants of those who lost their Indian status through a process called enfranchisement are filing a constitutional challenge. They're arguing that their families were coerced into the policy decades ago, the consequence of which continues to affect them to this day. Olivia Stefanovic has the details.
Even though Nadia Salmanu is a citizen of the Haida Nation, she doesn't qualify for Indian status.
To receive a rejection letter saying that you're not Indigenous when you know that's part of who you are is deeply, deeply impactful.
Status comes with potential benefits that can include hunting and fishing rights, some tax exemptions, and health coverage. But Salmanu's great-grandfather, Wilfred Laurier Bennett, gave that up in 1944 under a process known as enfranchisement, a difficult choice to renounce his Indigenous heritage, gaining Canadian citizenship in order to spare his descendants from residential school.
He made I believe, a forced decision to protect his children.
Salmanu is now trying to reclaim her Indian status through a constitutional challenge.
My Haida name, San Nanguas, means the girl who sings or singing girl. You know, I know who I am.
We are going back to becoming what the government tried to make us not be anymore.
Catherine Fournier's grandfather also went to residential school. He gave up his status so he could own property. Fournier was able to regain status under a previous change to the law, but she can't pass it on to her children.
And being able to say officially and formally and quite openly, this is who I am.
Their lawyer says the Indian Act continues to discriminate against the descendants of women.
It's hard to understand why Canada has not yet decided to address this issue.
Ottawa has yet to file a legal defense, but in a statement, Indigenous Services Minister Mark Miller's office acknowledges sex-based inequities continue to be felt in Indian status registration and is working on further legislative changes. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Those out in Leamington will have access to a pop-up clinic this week. They will have both Moderna and Pfizer at the clinic, but the Pfizer shots are just for youth between 12 and 17 years old. The clinic runs tomorrow from 12 until 5, and then again on Thursday and on Friday from 11 until 7 o'clock. All the pop-ups will be at the parking lot across from the Princess Center. Another live look at our city there, the Ambassador Bridge. That heat wave continues, and there is a thunderstorm rolling through, according to Environment Canada, near Essex. Colette Kennedy will be with us right after the break with everything you need to know. Stay with us. More than 200 wildfires are burning across BC, according to the province's wildfire service, many classified as out of control. Evacuation orders are in place for thousands of homes and businesses, including an area near Lytton, where much of the community was destroyed by fire last week. And dozens of firefighters from eastern Canada have started to arrive in the province to help in the interior region, where the most threatening fires have been burning for days. Nearly 900 square kilometers of land have been burned in BC already this season. Colette Kennedy joins us now for weather. Colette, some thunderstorms coming through.
Yeah, we do have some active weather here, Kat, that I want to get to right away. We now have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in place, and Windsor is included in this. You can see it stretching through Chatham, Kent, back towards Leamington. Basically a cluster of storms. Now, earlier, there was a special weather statement as this kind of came together in Essex and some heavy downpours there, but it has intensified. So it's essentially kind of from about Windsor to Merlin and through this region. I'll just show you how these kind of fired up, and then we're really there was nothing there about 3 hours ago, and then getting into this cluster. So towards the airport for South Windsor, McGregor, towards Harrow as well, impacted by this, Maidstone and through Essex. Closer look there. Look at all those lightning strikes. I've kind of frozen this right here. And then we take the strikes off, and you can see where we're really getting into some very heavy downpours here. But it's not just that, it's the winds gusts that may exceed 100 kilometers an hour. So it is a warning, so you do need to take that seriously and take cover. Do we still have the heat? Yeah, one of the ingredients that's causing these storms to fire up and be so strong. Our current Humidex values are still holding there in the mid-30s with our temperatures. Did that in reverse, didn't I? Sitting there in the upper 20s. It's interesting because as the storms come through, it brought the temperatures down a little bit. So looking at the overnight hours, even through midnight, we still have some spotty showers and thunderstorms. And then tomorrow there'll be a quieter period, and then we'll see them kind of firing up again tomorrow afternoon and into the evening. And then into Thursday, it actually becomes more widespread and off and on getting into rain. Like you can see that it's really going to spread out through that day. So we've got a couple of days with some wet conditions to deal with, and at times even some active weather in here, although it shouldn't be as volatile as we go into Thursday. I want to show you the rainfall accumulations just because I know this is getting a little further south. So we're not actually picking it up at Lakeshore, but that pocket right there, if you take a look, hey, that puts you in 60, even 80 in the target. That's picking up actually that cluster of storms going through right now. Otherwise, this is through tomorrow to about 6 p.m. and doesn't include the rain coming for Thursday. It is very localized, but still, flash flooding certainly a concern. 20 tonight. We'll see a warmer temperature, but then falling temps with that front going through. So 24 for Wednesday, and then we kind of get into this pattern here. We'll get some sun coming back, quiet things down, but the temperature's kind of leveling off, Kat.
Yeah, not what you like during the summer, but it's good to know.
Yeah, we can't do much about it, so there it is.
Exactly. Thanks, Colette. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Now, when we come back, a video of some orca whales is making waves. It's quite something, so we'll show you that right after the break. Summer is a time to take on outdoor adventures, and this year a zipline park in Nova Scotia is offering something new, a course designed for wheelchair users. It's only been open about a month, but it's already clear that it's a popular addition. The CBC's Paul Palmater has more.
Since it opened 10 years ago, the Entree Park has only been usable by people who can use their arms and legs. But the owner of the park has always had another vision.
My dream was always to create a wheelchair accessible course, and last year and this year we completed the course actually.
Weigelt's vision is now a reality, and the course is open. After months of staff testing the course with the wheelchair they purchased, it was finally deemed ready to go on June 1st. It has numerous extra safety measures in place, including platforms that are 3 times larger than regular ones. 5 years ago, Erin Sari was injured diving into a swimming pool. At first, she wasn't completely comfortable with the idea of trying to overcome some of the obstacles laid out on the course.
I actually really enjoyed that part of it, which I didn't think I was going to, because there's a lot of obstacles in this world already for wheelchair users, but they made it fun. And then at the end with the zip line, that was the best part, obviously.
Sari gave the new course a try last week. Despite being a little apprehensive at first, she said it was an excellent experience that she plans to do again.
It wasn't nerve-wracking at all. It was really fun. My family was there to see me do it, and it just gave me a little bit of an adrenaline rush that I haven't felt in a really long time.
Feedback from wheelchair users will be important as the course gets tweaked. A 300-meter-long new zip line will be added for all users this fall.
The person then in the wheelchair actually can fly like a bird and fly to the sky and enjoy that ride.
That's a pretty long one.
That's a pretty long one, yeah. That will be the longest one in the park.
Paul Palmater, CBC News, Martok.
That's so cool. Spotting killer whales is quite a sight anytime, but when you really get up close like this, there may be some salty language to describe what's happening.
No, 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 we gotta go now. We gotta go. No!
There are a lot of bleeps in that video, but you can obviously see why. They're so bleeping excited and they're scared. This pod of orcas was spotted off St. Philip's, Newfoundland. The excitement was just too much as the orcas breached the surface next to the boat. The video was taken by Jay Mills, who had taken his sister out cod fishing for the first time. They first spotted the orcas away from the boat and they started recording the video. But then, as you can see, they got a very memorable encounter. That would definitely freak me out, but orcas are actually my favorite animals, so that would have been a moment of a lifetime. That is it for CBC Windsor News. For news anytime, you can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But before we go, we're just going to take you back to Erie Street. That is where Italy just made it to the finals of the Euro Cup. That's a live look there. And good news, our CBC's Jacob Barker, he did survive that big crowd if you watched him get devoured earlier in the show from all that enthusiasm. He's doing all right, and Little Italy's doing all right. Everybody is just overwhelmed with joy. Everybody have yourselves a wonderful night.